Okay, good morning. My name is Gerovasilis. I'm the managing director of a company in Greece, which is been working in photovoltaic sector since 2006. It's called Ares Energy, Hellas Solar Technique, and we're a member of the HELAPCO, which is the Hellenic Association of Photovoltaic Companies. We're also a member of the industry of Southeast Europe, of Energy Institute of Southeast Europe, and we're also a member of the Technical Institute of Engineers in Greece. I will start, first of all, our presentation with the new developments in the Greek law, and these are new developments coming the last 3 months, which was a new law passed back in June of 2010. It's the new law 3851. And the scope of the new law is to accelerate all the procedures for renewable energy sources projects and for Greece to reach the goal of 2020 of 20% energy coming from renewable sources. I will just want to mention here that Greece, the first law that passed was in 2006, but because of a lot of things that were not foreseen back then. We had a lot of bureaucratic problems and delays in the issuing of licenses in wind and solar projects, and a lot of people had not been able to license their projects and therefore finally to do the investment. Therefore, the new law came into effect just now to help and fast forward these procedures. And in some cases, some of the steps were not even included because it was a very lengthy licensing procedure. So the main goals of the new law that was passed back in June is to give priority to all the renewable energy projects that are either mature, that came from the previous law in 2006, and from the new law to give high priority also for building integration projects. And in some special cases, which is what our meeting here is about, to involve the marginal areas, even in protected areas in Greece. And actually that's where we come from, where the mountain is considered to be a very protected area, and we had a lot of issues there to do projects. We could not get any licenses until with this new law. So the contribution of the energy produced from the renewable energy sources to the gross final energy consumption by a share of 20% is the goal for Greece. And the contribution of the electrical energy produced by renewable energy sources to the gross electrical energy consumption to a share of at least 40%. This is for 2020, and for 2030 is supposed to be double. But this is initial thoughts, and is nothing at the concrete at this point. The contribution of the electrical energy by renewable energy sources to the gross electrical energy consumption and transportation to a share of at least 10%. Now, excluded from the obligation to obtain a license to produce electrical energy of any other certification decision and are physical or legal persons. There are different categories in Greece, depending on the size of the project, and depending if it's a private person or if it's a community, municipality, or if it's a company. So according to the new law, maximum implementations of PV projects are up to 1 megawatt. Before, we actually did not have a limit, used to go up to 10 or 15 megawatt. But because of a lot of environmental issues and issues with the archaeological societies, a lot of these projects have come to a stall. So now the idea is to spread out and make a small, so to say, microgrids, and not too many big installations. A few big installations, but more smaller installations. And there are a lot of stations that have been installed in Greece, and these are up to 5 megawatt. And also the government has applied in some of these cases through either municipalities, prefectures, to do some of these projects. All these projects that come from government, municipalities, and prefectures have priority. And especially with the new law, these the ones that are for marginal areas, areas that have been underdeveloped for either contaminated or waste dump areas and all this, they would have the highest priority. The idea in Greece is not to do PV projects in high productivity and agricultural areas. So, exempt from the obligation of publication of the approval of environmental conditions decision are the stations producing electrical energy installed in field courts in free field, as long as their installed power do not exceed 0.5 megawatt, because up to 1 megawatt is only for on-roof systems. So the idea is to make smaller systems, as we said, and spread them out throughout the continental Greece and not in the islands yet, because we don't know still what their plan is for the islands. Most of the islands in Greece are not connected to the main grid. The contract in Greece for the sale of the electricity for projects above 10 kilowatt are for 20 years, and up to 10 kilowatt, it's only for house consumers, is 25 years. The pricing for the electricity we also now subject to feed-in tariff drops in Greece, and these are separated into two main categories: the up to 100 kilowatt and above 100 kilowatt projects. And the first feed-in tariff drop came into effect this year, August 2010. Dropping from 40 cents to 39.2 cents for above 100 kilowatt, and for less than 100 kilowatt or up to 100 kilowatt from 45 cents to 44.1 cent. And the idea is to go on with the feed-in tariff drops every 6 months, August and February of every year until 2014. Which the lowest at that time would be supposedly 31.4 and 35.3 cents accordingly. Now, the islands have different feed-in tariffs. They have a little higher feed-in tariffs than the rest of Greece. But these are also subject to be changed at any point. Seeing from what has happened in other countries in Europe, or the sudden feed-in tariff drops regardless of the laws that came into effect. This is a new law now, but this is also for only new projects. Hopefully what will not happen is the change of the feed-in tariff once the contract has been signed with the grid supplier. So we're hoping that this will never happen. The prices are readjusted on a yearly basis by 25% of the consumer price index of the previous year, as specified by the Bank of Greece. Also, it's very important that, the idea is again in Greece that to clarify the marginal system price. This is something that is an ongoing issue in Greece, and it's been of a very big dispute. And this is something that will be clarified, they said, sometime in September. And this also affects any changes to the feed-in tariffs and the intrusion of the PVs in the renewable energies goal of Greece for 2020, among other renewable energy sources such as wind, biomass, and others.